Okay.
All rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with
Liberty and justice
for all. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Alvarez. Councilman Alvarez.
He's muted.
Present, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Councilman Larka.
Here.
Councilman Lord.
Here.
Councilman O'Connor.
Here.
Supervisor Hay.
Here. I make a motion to come out of the executive session. No action was taken.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the first thing on the agenda this evening is a presentation, is a proclamation for Ellie McCaughey. Resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast shall recognize and commend Ellie McCaughey at the town board meeting on the 17th day of September 2020 upon the occasion of her more than 25 years of dedication to Board of Assessment Review. Ellie McCaughey is a model Board of Assessment Review member of the town of Southeast, and we'd like to congratulate Ellie and her family who have shared in these special accomplishments, knowing that in doing so, she has encouraged other people to follow in her path. So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Lori will be having a luncheon for her, I believe, on the 25th of September, and has been a select crew to invite, and most of them are on that board. Okay. Next thing is the public hearing, commercial shooting ranges, chapter 138. Eric, I'll let you describe to the people how they get recognized.
I need a second, Tony, to open it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll waive the reading of the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
There's, Ashley, is it *6?
It's *9 if you're on the phone to raise your hand. Otherwise, if you're in the participant box, if you hover over your name, you can click raise your hand if you're on the computer.
Thank you. So again, just if you click on the participants, you can raise your hand or *9 on the phone and it'll show up and we will unmute you. So nobody's raised their hand, Tony, so.
Someone's got to be raised. No one's raised their hand? Okay, I do have two letters that came into the town. One was from a Mark Halstead, which will be put into the record this evening, and one for Sally Ann Jones Corsaro. So two records will be entered in this evening. Michelle, you have both these copies, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Now, let's make sure that
okay,
everyone's,
Tony, real quick, so Carla Lucino just asked that she would like to speak.
fine.
Couldn't figure out how to raise her hand, so let me. Carla, you should be unmuted.
Can you hear me, Eric?
Yes.
Yes.
I just have a couple of comments on the shooting ranges. I went through all the backup material. I still think we should have allowed outdoor ranges. The last time you had a public hearing, you said no outdoor ranges because you would deal with that if you ever got an application. But we all know how long that process takes, and I think it's very discouraging to someone who might want to put a business in the town to have to get the town code changed in order to proceed. So I think that we should have readdressed that. I also, I didn't know about the annual certification. I assume that's done for all types of businesses. I thought annual was too frequent. I thought maybe every 2 years might be a better approach. I also took a look at the noise provisions in Chapter 96 compared to the Planning Board recommendations. I thought the Planning Board recommendations were severe. It doesn't look like you intend to adopt their recommendations. So if you stick with Chapter 96, I think that's okay. And that's all I have to say. I'm glad that everybody took a look at it and so much thought and effort went into it. And thanks very much.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak to this issue this evening? Now, tonight we will not be closing the public hearing. We're going to leave it open for 7 days to make public comment further in writing. One last call. Anyone to speak to the public hearing on shooting ranges?
Tony, are we going to, or is it known to the members or the people that are participating in this, what the planning board's recommendations were, or what a part of the planning board recommended? I think it was that the indoor range be a separate structure, as well as the noise recommendations that Carla mentioned.
I know it's put out with their minutes and everything. I'm not sure exactly if everyone's aware of it, but tomorrow we'll put it up on the webpage so they can see it as well and can still make comment for 7 days.
Yeah, and it is included in the agenda, the
Yeah, I
letter
did, the
from
last 2
Tom.
pages.
Yeah, it's in our agenda. I just wondered if the public at large had seen it, because the planning board did go to the trouble of considering it and putting some.
Our agenda's on the webpage.
Yeah, John, I have the agenda up from the website, so it's in that one as well.
Thanks. Sorry, Eric.
No worries.
Last call. Okay, so again, we're going to keep the public hearing open in writing for 7 days from tonight's meeting. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Okay, the public hearing for this evening is peddling and soliciting, Chapter 103. Make a motion to open the public hearing and waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Will, this is a pretty lengthy document. You can guarantee I'm not going to go out there and try to peddle and solicit in the town of Southeast. So, anyone in the town board like to start before we go to the public?
Just by way of background, if you'd like, what we've done here is basically reverse what was done many years ago when it was determined that peddling and soliciting was problematic. What has happened over the years is the courts have ruled that the ability to peddle and solicit is a protected constitutional right, but it doesn't mean that we can't regulate it. So what is in this proposed local law is a rubric by which, if we're going to have peddling and soliciting in this town, they would have to become the individuals that were looking to peddle or solicit door to door would have to be licensed, and we would do background checks, et cetera, all in an effort to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens. That is, in a nutshell, what is there. It's a little bit more complicated when you get into the nitty gritty of it, but I think that it's a pretty good protection.
I would say comprehensive, not complicated.
To say the least.
Well, I just have one question before we go into the public hearings. I read through it, but I read through it again last night. Is there any way that we can change the BCI report, which I guess is the background report? It's 180 days prior. I'd like to make that shorter, like a minimum of 90 or 60 days prior to the submission. And I don't know if there's any reason why we couldn't do that.
I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't make that change. I think the reason why that number is in there was because at certain times their BCI reports are not easy to come by. I don't know whether they're more accessible today than they were when the model legislation was done years ago. But
yeah, we do a bunch of these for work. It typically runs like 2 to 3 weeks. So I would make a recommendation. We change that to 90. If anybody.
that's not a problem.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, open up to the public.
Okay, again, so you can type in the chat if you'd like to speak, and I can unmute you. I think you may be able to unmute yourselves. You can press *9 if you dialed in to raise your hand, and we can unmute you. Or you could click on participants, and you should be able to raise your hand by hovering by your name. Going once. it doesn't appear that anybody wants to speak to this.
Okay. I'll make a motion to extend the public hearing by 7 days for written comment.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item on the agenda was supposed to be a work session. There's nothing scheduled for a work session this evening. So I'll make a motion to go into the regular portion of the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Waive the reading of the correspondence. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the voucher list, $1,151,466.79. So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Waive the reading of the budget transfers. So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Setting of meeting dates and public hearings. All meetings will be held at 1360 Route 22, Brewster, New York at 7 p.m. unless otherwise noted. Thursday, October 8, 2020. Thursday, October 22, 2020. I've received numerous comments from public wanting to know when we're going back live. And when is this current extension on the Zoom meetings? Not that we have to adhere to it, we can have live meetings regardless. So what is the pleasure of the board? Wait for the governor or,
Yeah, I suggest we wait for the governor and see if they extend it.
okay. I fully support going back live, but we will wait. When, John, do you know the date of that?
It's sometime it's probably right around election day. 'Cause it's
Oh, it's election day?
typically
It's October 4th.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was October.
So,
Okay. So October 4th and our meeting is scheduled for October 8th. So October 8th would have to be a Zoom meeting based on that information. Because we have to, advertise the agenda and everything. We'd have to do it beforehand. So right now, we're going to say the October 8th meeting is Zoom. And on the October 8th meeting, if we want to go live, we can state it at that time. Everyone agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wait, Michelle, was there a second on that?
No, there wasn't.
Someone
Second.
John, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Get myself prepared here. Next is Board of Assessment Review, appointment of Stephen P. Moore to a full term. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Southeast hereby appoints Stephen P. Moore to the Town of Southeast Board of Assessment Review for such term to commence October 1, 2020 and expire September 30, 2025. And be further resolved that this appointment shall take effect immediately upon the taking of the filing of the appropriate oath of office with the town clerk of the Town of Southeast. So moved for discussion.
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 That came forward with the recommendation from Lori Bell. Okay, number 6, resolution, Kojak's Construction LLC, settlement of certiorari proceeding. Now therefore be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Southeast does hereby accept the recommendations of its professional advisors and authorizes the town attorney to execute a stipulation of settlement, consent judgment, and/or order on consent in accordance with said recommendation of the following. Petitioner, Kojak's Construction, tax ID 57.-2-29, year 2020, assessment $2,040,000, settle assessment $2 million. And be further resolved that the town attorney is hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all stipulations, consent orders, or other documents necessary to reflect the foregoing settlements. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 7. It's a resolution, retention and disposition schedule for New York State local government records. Now therefore be resolved that the Town of Southeast Town Board, that retention and disposition schedule for New York local government records, LG1, issued pursuant to Article 57-A of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law and containing legal minimum retention periods for local government records, is hereby adopted for use by all offices in legally disposing of valueless records listed therein, and be further resolved that A, in accordance with Article 57-A, only those records will be disposed of that are described in retention disposition schedule for New York local records, LGS-1, after they have met the minimum retention period described therein. B, only those records will be disposed of that do not have sufficient administrative, fiscal, legal, or historical value to merit retention beyond established legal minimum periods. So move for discussion.
Second.
Michelle, you happy with that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 8. Resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute license agreement with Algonquin Gas Transmission LLC. Now therefore be resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to execute a revocable license agreement with Algonquin, wherein and whereby Algonquin will use and utilize a portion of the former municipal landfill on Lower Mine Road as and for a staging area for the construction and improvement of portions of the Algonquin natural gas pipeline in form and substance approved by the town attorney, and be further resolved that all actions heretofore taken by the supervisor in connection with this initiative are hereby ratified, confirmed, and approved non-pro-tum, and be further resolutions to take effect immediately. What are you guys laughing at? Listen,
I'll
up.
second.
What am I gonna do? I failed Latin.
It's okay. Cesciore is the one that gets me, so non pro tunc and las mañanitas is yours.
Okay, so move for discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
I want
Aye.
to discuss,
Pardon?
discussion.
I said that. Go.
Yeah, I sent an email earlier today about my thoughts on what Algonquin is going to be doing there, and I was hoping that the town board would ask them to remove the pipe that they are proposing to abandon there. So that's what I wanted to discuss. They want to use our staging area to fix some anomalies they've found with the pipeline where it goes under the Metro North tracks. And according to the email that they sent to us back in June, they plan to cauterize and I guess kind of neutralize the piping that's in there now in the casing, but they want to abandon it on site. And I feel that for the betterment of the town, we should ask them to remove the pipe instead of abandoning it.
Well, as far as I know, John, that's standard operating procedure. The length of the pipe is quite lengthy. I don't know, never, I mean, I watch the news and listen to news a lot. I've never seen it done before where they actually dig up the pipe. It's quite secure. Will, do you want to make some comment on that?
Well, you're muted.
First of all, the Algonquin pipe line is regulated by federal government. We don't really have any regulatory authority over them. The thing that I think is most interesting is that in this location, they actually go under the Metro North rail line. And I've had some experience with dealing with Metro North and facilities that run underneath the railroad tracks. And Metro North is very, they jealously guard what happens. And if Metro North saw a problem with it being abandoned in place, they would certainly speak up. And again, they have, since it's really going under their property, I don't know that we really have much to say about it.
My hope was that we would ask Algonquin to reconsider abandoning in place and removing the pipe. I don't know that it would cause environmental damage at a later time, but I'd rather be on the record of having asked them to consider this and maybe even involve Metro North with it because it's on their property. But most of all, it's within the boundaries of the town of Southeast, and I would rather ask the question rather than.
Well, much the same way as the town of Southeast had no say in when this pipeline was being installed, because it is exclusive jurisdiction of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, My guess is that we can ask, but it's going to fall on deaf ears, and we have no way of compelling them to do other than what they are told they can and cannot do by FERC.
Well, I just thought we would ask them the question. I did see as part of the email they sent to us that we had to pass MS4 or give them MS4 approval. And I guess if we withdrew that, if they wouldn't answer us, I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
MS4 approval is really just, stormwater, making sure that stormwater protections are in place. So if they're working in that area and there's concern of erosion, sediment control, et cetera, we have the authority, and not only the authority, the obligation to make sure that their erosion and basically they have a stormwater pollution prevention plan in place. That's what MS4 is all about. It's not something we revoke or don't issue, but it's something that they would be required to submit a stormwater pollution prevention plan, a SWIP, to our satisfaction.
John, I saw your email about this, and I did like some research because I get what your concern is, but if this were like an oil line or something like that, there could be residues and things like that. But from everything that I couldn't find anything that when a gas line is vacated, it's vacated, and it sounded like they were going to put something right alongside. So I don't know if I see the necessity to do this, but that's just my thoughts.
Does anyone support John's view that we should take a vote on? Is there a second on it?
Yeah, my
Seeing none.
motion
Say
would
again?
be to ask Algonquin to consider not abandoning the pipe in place, but removing it. And
Okay. Is there a second? Seeing none on the motion. Now, you can't, two hands don't count, John, only one. All,
I have Will's hand up.
no, he's in Greece. You can't even pay attention. Okay, roll call vote.
Councilman Alvarez,
What am I voting? I'm voting on
On the resolution as,
John's motion or
no, you're voting on the motion that's on the table as written.
yeah,
Pass
as
the resolution.
to allow you, the supervisor? Yes.
okay. Councilman Larka,
Yes.
Councilman Lord,
Now,
Councilman O'Connor,
Yes.
Supervisor Hay.
Yes. Okay, number 10, resolution ARB recommendation, Home Depot. Now
Do we
therefore,
miss number 9?
what was 9?
Yes.
Oh, you know why? Because I missed it back in January too. Okay, I missed it on the organizational. Unfortunately, I missed it. I'm trying to miss it again tonight. There's something about garbage pickup I don't want to discuss. But at any rate, we should have done this during the organizational. Resolved that the supervisor be and is hereby authorized to execute any and all contracts, agreements, or extension as may be necessary to extend the contract with Suburban Carting Company for residential refuse removal for a period of 2 years ending on December 31, 2021, and be further resolved that all actions heretofore taken by the supervisor in furtherance of the hereby approved, ratified, and confirmed non-pro-tunc. How's that one, Ed?
That was good.
Ah,
Should I call Liz Hudak to come back and say it for us?
nah, she might charge.
You did good. You did good.
Okay. So
I'll second.
second,
Got it.
discussion? Okay,
Yeah.
again,
are the amounts the same as last time?
they're entitled up to 3%. It's in the contract.
CPI.
Yes. It can't exceed 3%.
And so,
And this is the second of the 2 years extensions before we have to go out to bid again.
Okay, and what is that amount per year now?
Oh, it's in the budget. I don't have it handy. Unfortunately, it is what it is, and I'm quite sure it's gonna be higher the next time we go around, because it's much harder to get rid of the garbage. I have to admit, though, they're doing a really good job. We don't get a lot of complaints.
And that's for residential and also,
Well, this is residential. Commercial, they do their own, and cardboard and that, we have another vendor for that.
thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, number 10, ARB recommendation, Home Depot. Now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby accepts and approves the report of the Architectural Review Board dated July 29, 2020, in connection with the application of Home Depot, which seeks amended site plan approval for an existing commercial/retail facility located at 80 Independent Way, tax map ID 56.1-23-.1, including expanding outdoor storage to include a shed display area, outdoor storage of mulch and outdoor garden center garden center sales. A copy of the ARB review and report is annexed here too, made part of, and that such report shall be incorporated in any final site plan subsequently reviewed and approved by this project by the planning board. So moved for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now I get to the good stuff. I put my agenda away. Oh, great. Okay, here we go. Geez, I'm all alone here at this desk and I can't find nothing. It's almost like my desk in the office. Oh. I'm out. I'm getting there. Now, guys, you're gonna have to help me out. I can't. Oh, wait, here it is. Too many papers on my desk.
You need
Okay, what we at, number
11.
11? How could I forget? Okay, number 11, supervisor presents the 2021 town budget to the town clerk, and the town clerk will present it to the town board this evening. Now, it's all gonna be done virtually. So,
I have
Michelle's
it
over
here.
here. She's got it. I got it. It's been scanned into the computer, and you'll have it by either, you're gonna get it done tonight or tomorrow morning.
I could do it tonight.
So it'll be in your box. Actually, what copy this is in your box, a hard copy, so you don't have to print it out. There's one in your box.
Okay.
And she will provide it to you by email later this evening. Now, other than that, my financial report and the actual discussion on the budget. You ready? Don't be so enthusiastic.
I'm ready. Yay.
Okay. Okay. Without a doubt, 2020 has been a very noteworthy year. With the town running on only 4 of its 8-cylinder engine from Friday, March 20, 2020 to Monday, June 8, 2020, a total of 80 days, proved to be quite challenging. Town court was the only department closed the entire time. Other town departments consisting of essential and non-essential employees operated on a 50% on-off work schedule, and recreation programs ground to a halt. Courts and other town departments have since reopened. However, the town's recreation programs have still not returned to normal. Sadly, in a journal news story printed on Saturday, August 29, 2020, the headlines read, Hudson Valley's unemployment rate jumps. Putnam County's unemployment went from 3.9% to 12.3%. Staggering numbers, to say the least. Many businesses are still not open, and many only operated at 25 to 50% capacity. We have all been affected by these challenging times similarly. However, some more than others, affecting all of our residents. Let me touch on some of the highlights of the town's 2021 budget. The 2021 town Southeast budget has stayed within the state mandated tax cap, which is 1.56% this year. Revenues were down across the board this year. The Recreation Department had the largest decrease at $155,000 to date, and mortgage tax showing a very slight increase. With union contracts expiring at the end of this year and the economy being in a state of flux that it is, I am calling for a salary freeze for all town employees, part-time, full-time, elected, and non-elected elected. I believe there'll be other municipalities calling for a similar measure. There'll be others that may require layoffs and possibly furloughs. This measure will help to ensure that our residents will not endure any cuts to services generated by our trusted employees that they have grown accustomed to. We have great departments, we have great services, and this will hopefully help everything in line and they can continue to enjoy them. The 2021 budget also identifies the fact that a managerial employee will be retiring from town service for the first time in over a decade. The town tax receiver, Susan Tobacco, plans on retiring effective May 2021 after 20 years of dedicated service to the town. Ms. Tobacco has recommended that her replacement begin training in January, learning the job responsibilities such as processing the 2021 county and school tax collection, Southeast Station parking renewals, and the special districts collections in February. Some of these responsibilities are over and above the duties of a normal tax receiver. Once again, the same two major contributing factors challenging municipalities staying within the mandated tax cap annually remain the same. That being approximately a 5% increase in health insurance this year and premiums and approximately 10% increase in retirement benefits. On the plus side, there's a plus. For the first time in well over a decade, our town highway superintendent has provided a vehicle replacement schedule with his 2021 budget submission. That will allow the town to better anticipate future budgetary expenditures in the department. And he's also advised me that come January, he'll have the report about which roads will be paved. I want to give special thanks to the town accountant, Ron Hunn, who I've driven crazy, and he drove me crazy for the past 2.5 to 3 weeks, and our department heads in helping to prepare this budget. So you'll have it. I would like you all to be in contact with me over the next couple of weeks. If you have any questions about the budget, suggestions, recommendations. We spent quite a bit of time on it. I'm happy that I would have liked to brought it a little below the tax cap. I had a request for that, but things are what they are. We don't want to cut any services to the residents. And I think this is the fairest thing we could possibly do. There are a lot of businesses, families that are really still hurting by what's going out there with the COVID epidemic. Now, currently, I pretty much wrapped up the eggshell on that one. Again, the courts are back in operation. I think it was Will. I want to thank him. He's with the courts. They're doing what they call processing tickets by mail now, which they had not done previously. And it's working out pretty well. So the court revenues, which were down really, really drastically because they were closed for 80 straight days, when they reopened, this went into effect and the monies are actually coming in. So instead of waiting court dates, well, I don't know if the court dates, sometimes it takes a year to a year and a half, even 2 years to get to court. So things are a lot better. And thank you for getting that done well. Any questions? Okay, see none, we'll open up for public comment. Eric, want to tell the public how to comment?
Yep, you can either click in the chat box and ask to be unmuted. You can unmute yourself, I believe. If you click on participants, you can hover over your name and raise your hand. Or if you've dialed in by a phone, you can press *9 and that will raise your hand and we can unmute you.
Anybody raising their hand?
Nobody's raised their hand and nobody has chatted.
Okay, town board comment.
Want to just say about the recent storms that we had. Number of constituents called in. I think everybody remembers that people were asking that maybe the town could put stuff out on social media. I know sometimes it's difficult, especially when you're out of power, to access computer or Wi-Fi in your own home, but a lot of people are able to access social media using their cell phones and smartphones. So I think one of the things we should explore, certainly before in the very near future, seeing as how we're still in hurricane season and we're coming up on the winter storm season, that maybe we should look at having a town social media website, at least probably on Facebook, at the very least, maybe Twitter, and come up with both a policy on posting on the social media. I think that would go hand in hand with having the social media website, as it may be. And I think it's just something that it's a way we can get information out to the public, because a lot of people will check their social media rather than try to navigate a municipal website to find quick information. Because it kind of, if they sign on to a group like that, they can pretty much get an instant notification on it, so they can find out where to pick up ice and water, or perhaps when roads are closed, etc. So something I'd like to see moved forward in the town.
And you just volunteered that, right?
I'm not saying I'm going to run it, but I think we do need to collaborate on getting a policy together on who and what should be posted on there. I think that's very, very key to running any type of social media, especially if it's going to be a town official social media website or whatever little nodes we're putting together. But I would like to be, I'd like a lot of collaboration from everybody on the town board, and I don't know if we can get a town employee to do it, or I know we've had Victoria do some of the website updates for the town website on the internet. But I think it does need a little addressing, seeing how I don't think social media is going to be going away anytime soon. It's a good tool that a lot of agencies use. A lot of the other towns are using it. So I think we do need to get into the 21st century on that and make the information available to our constituents.
Well, I'm going to remain a caveman. From what I've seen in social media and some of the postings that I read by people, especially people that have been in public office before, I'm not a fan. So, John, if you want to start maybe working with Will, someone's got to start it. And John, looks like you're volunteering.
Okay, well, I guess we'll start the ball rolling.
You will start that ball rolling. Yes. Anyone else? Okay. Voting is getting closer. Just make sure you vote this year. Find out what you have to do to get it done. And 911 numbering, still a problem out there.
Yes.
We're still getting a tremendous amount of false alarms. Now, we did have that one bad month with the storm. We had a lot of activation that we forgave, so to speak, because when the power goes out, it sets off the alarms, got a lot of false alarms, but it's really very troubling. We're collecting some fines, some people aren't collecting fines, and I hate to say it, we're going to be seeing them in court. We cannot have this continue. Our firemen are putting their lives, not just the firemen, any emergency service person goes out every time we get these calls, and it's really, really bad. I mean, we're on tune again this year to well over 300 false alarms, and that is absolutely ridiculous. Anyone else?
I had one other thing. I had the pleasure of attending some emergency management meetings at the county with the town highway superintendents, including our own Mike Burdick. So the county has been actively working with the public utilities, the 5 towns on this side of the county that are served by NYSEG, New York State Electric and Gas, and Central Hudson, which services the Phillipstown area. And there's been a lot of moving forward as far as the command and control and how the assets are deployed. There were, in having this blue sky meeting, we talked about the shortfalls in the last 2 storms, and the public utilities have been ordered to step up by the Public Safety or Public Service Commission rather. And so I think we've moved forward dramatically. We did, in comparison to say northern to Mid-Westchester, Putnam County came out of that, even though we got hit just as hard. We were able to bounce back and get to the recovery phase much quicker due to the new organization that we've done. And I think the next time this happens, if we do get hit hard, it'll be even better the next time. So I think that's going to be a good thing moving forward. And then the other thing, I know many constituents, especially in my neighborhood, have been asking about the Welfare Road project. And I know in talking to Superintendent Burdick, there were a lot of problems with the concrete company that was making the sections that they were replacing over there, the culvert. And essentially the supplier lied to us several times. It's really been an uphill climb for Mr. Burdick on that. And he tells me they have promised again that they should see those sections arriving, I
Next
believe,
week.
next week or so.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to see him on tonight. I asked him if he was going to come on, but so from what I heard, I think it was about September 21st, they may have the sections in. So hopefully we can close that up and or we're able to use Welfare Road, because it is causing problems with the school buses and all traffic around the Sherwood Hill area for that. So that's all I got.
Okay.
Thanks, John.
Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
No, I didn't make it. I love this. I'm staying.
Tonight's meeting.
Close
Second
meeting.
by John.
Okay, Eric moved it. Who's seconding?
Second.
Edwin moved it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you all for coming this evening.
All right, good night, everyone.
Okay,
Thank
have
you.
a
Good night.
All right.